The restaurant glowed with warm lights, polished glass, and that expensive hush that only places with a 3-month waiting list possessed. Everyone from the firm was there, executives in tailored suits, junior analysts in rented dresses. HR smiling with the stiffness of people who weren't used to smiling. They had gathered to celebrate the woman who had become the company's youngest senior director, Alina Ward. Alina sat at the center table, her posture straight, her hands calmly folded on her lap, though her fingers trembled beneath the linen napkin. Her long black dress shimmered when she moved, but her eyes, they held a quiet storm she kept carefully hidden. Only her fiancé Liam, sitting beside her, sensed something was wrong. For years, she had worked for this promotion. Countless late nights, missed holidays, 2 hospital scares from exhaustion. She had built entire departments, saved the company from a public lawsuit, trained executives who later took credit for her work. And now, tonight, she was being rewarded for it. But Alina knew something no one else did, something that changed everything. She kept glancing at the door, as though expecting someone or dreading someone would walk in. Her boss, VP Charles Dalton, tapped his glass. "Everyone," he said, smiling broadly, "let's toast to the woman who has carried half of our successes for 5 years without complaint, to the brilliant, unstoppable, irreplaceable Alina Ward." The room erupted with applause. People rose to their feet. A few whistled. Alina forced a smile, though her blood felt cold. Liam squeezed her hand under the table. "You okay?" he whispered. She nodded, lying. The CEO lifted his glass. "You've earned this title more than anyone in this company's history." More applause. More eyes. More pressure. Alina stood slowly. "Thank you," she began, her voice steady, despite the tornado in her chest. "It's been an intense journey. I'm grateful for the trust." But when she raised her gaze, she caught the reflection of the restaurant doors in the polished wine glasses. A figure walked in, a man in a gray coat, tall, sharp features, eyes searching. Her entire body turned to ice. Liam noticed her go still. "Alina," he whispered. The man's eyes locked with hers. It was Detective Jonas Hale, the same detective who had contacted her 2 days ago, the man who knew the truth, the man who had told her something that shattered her entire world. He didn't approach her. He didn't wave. He simply nodded once, as though confirming something, then turned and left as silently as he'd come. Alina's breath caught. Her vision flickered for a moment. "Excuse me," she said quickly, forcing a smile, as she stepped away from the table. She found Jonas outside, standing near the valet ramp, hands in his pockets, watching the traffic. "So," he said quietly, "you went through with the celebration." "I had to," she said, her voice strained. "I needed to know if anything new came up." Jonas shook his head. "No updates, but the timeline checks out. The evidence is real. Alina and I told you you're not responsible." Her jaw tightened. "Aren't I?" "You didn't know what the company was doing," he whispered. "You didn't know your data models were being used to justify those layoffs. You didn't know the financial reports were being twisted. And you definitely didn't know about the offshore transfers." The air felt thin. "I should have known," she whispered. "I was the one who built the systems." "You built systems," Jonas said, "not corruption." Inside the restaurant, she could hear the muffled laughter of people celebrating her success. Completely unaware that the company was under federal investigation, completely unaware that the detective planned to go public by morning, completely unaware that Alina had been the whistleblower. Unknowingly, her promotion. It wasn't a reward, it was a distraction, a shield, a way to keep her quiet. "Alina," Jonas said gently, "you don't have to protect Dalton or the executives. You don't owe them loyalty." She looked down at her trembling hands. "Does Liam know?" Jonas asked. "No," she whispered. "And he can't. Not yet." Jonas sighed. "The news breaks at 7 a.m. the moment it does. They'll come after someone. You know who they'll choose." Alina nodded. "Me. You've got one night," Jonas said. "One chance to get ahead of them. But if you stay with them now, I know," she whispered, "they'll drag me down with them." A cool wind blew through the parking lot. Alina looked into the restaurant's glowing interior, her colleagues laughing, eating, drinking, toasting her name, celebrating her future, completely unaware that by sunrise, half of them would be interrogated by federal agents. She turned back to Jonas. "What would you do?" she asked softly, "if you were me?" Jonas hesitated. "I'd walk away tonight, before they use you as their shield, before they frame you for what they did." Alina closed her eyes. When she re-entered the restaurant, the room burst into applause again. She forced a smile, returned to her seat, and ignored Liam's worried eyes. Charles Dalton raised his glass again. To our star. She looked at him. Really looked his easy smile, his perfect suit, his practiced charm. This man had built his career on her work, used her, lied to her face, and now expected her to take the fall. Something inside her snapped. She stood. Everyone, she said calmly, I need to say something. The room grew quiet. Cameras lifted. Glasses paused mid-air. Alina inhaled slowly. I'm resigning. Gasps. Murmurs. Confusion exploded instantly. Dalton laughed stiffly. Come on, Alina. Great joke. I'm not joking, she said, her voice sharp, clear, unshakable, effective immediately. Silence swallowed the room. Liam stared at her in shock. Alina, he whispered. But she wasn't looking at him. Her eyes were fixed on Dalton. The color drained from his face. The executives exchanged panicked looks. Everyone else simply stared, not understanding, yet, but they would, by morning. The entire country would. The scandal would break. The company would crumble. And Alina Ward, the woman who built half of their empire, would not be standing beside them when it fell. The moment Alina heard Dalton's voice through the door, her breath vanished. Liam took a cautious step toward the entryway, but she grabbed his arm instantly. Don't, she whispered, her voice trembling. He's dangerous now. Another knock, this time slower, heavier, like he was reminding them of the power he once held. Alina, Dalton called again. Calm and terrifying. I'm not here to hurt you. I just need to talk. But she could hear it in his voice. The panic buried under his control. The desperation of a man whose empire was crumbling. Liam whispered, we need to call Detective Hale. Before she could answer, her phone lit up on the table. Hale's number. She snatched it, pressed accept, and whispered, he's here. Hale's voice tightened sharply. Do not open the door. Units are on the way. Keep him talking if you can, but stay inside. Alina, listen to me. He's cornered. Cornered men don't think rationally. A sudden, loud bang hit the door. Alina jumped back. Liam pulled her behind him. Dalton's voice snapped. All pretense gone now. You think you can walk away? After everything I gave you, after everything I risked for that company, you think I'm going to let you turn me into a headline? Liam shouted back. Get away from the door. Dalton laughed, a strange, broken sound. Ah, the fiancé, the moral compass. Tell me, does she know how much trouble she's actually in? Does she know her name is already circulating as the whistleblower? That the investors are ready to sacrifice her to save their skins? Does she know that by the time the public wakes up tomorrow, she'll be the face of corporate fraud? Alina felt her stomach twist. Dalton continued. I didn't run, Alina, I came to you. Because you and we know the truth. You helped build everything. They'll never believe you were innocent. Liam's voice hardened. She has evidence. The detective has evidence. Dalton scoffed. The detective? The man who thinks you're a pawn. He lowered his voice. Alina, open the door. You're safer with me. I can clean this up. I can erase you from the reports. But only if you choose the right side. Now, Alina stepped forward. Enough for Dalton to hear her clearly. The right side, she said softly. I already chose it. Silence, and then, a guttural snarl through the wood. Ungrateful, Dalton hissed. You wouldn't be anything without me. Alina steadied her breath, her voice surprisingly calm. And you wouldn't have survived 5 years without me. Another bang rattled the door. This time the handle jerked violently. Liam moved her back again. Alina. Hale shouted through the phone. Units are pulling up. Stay away from the entrance. Dalton, now frantic, shouted again. Open this door, or I swear. Sirens cut through the street outside. Flashing red and blue washed over the curtains. Dalton's fists hammered the door once. Twice, then stopped. Footsteps, running. Liam pulled the curtains back an inch. Watching. He's trying to flee. Alina clutched the phone. Detective, he's running toward the back alley. We've got officers there, Hale said. He won't get far. Alina and Liam stood frozen, listening as shouting echoed from outside. Feet pounding. Commands yelled, crash. Then silence. Minutes later, barely minutes, though it felt like hours, a firm knock sounded again. Alina Ward, a voice called. It's Detective Hale. It's safe now. Liam opened the door cautiously. Hale stepped inside, his expression tight but relieved. He's in custody. You're safe. Alina exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding for hours. Her knees weakened, and she sat on the couch, burying her face in her hands. Hale sat across from her. You did the right thing. And thanks to your testimony, the investigation is airtight. They can't pin anything on you. But they tried. She whispered. He tried. He failed, Hale said. Because you didn't. Liam wrapped an arm around her shoulders. She leaned into him, finally letting her tears fall. Hale stood. There will be press in the morning. You'll be asked to make a statement. I can help you prepare one, but for now, you've done more than anyone could have expected. As he left, Alina and Liam sat together in the quiet apartment. The adrenaline drained slowly, leaving only exhaustion and odd, profound sense of freedom. Liam brushed her hair gently. It's over, he whispered. Alina nodded. It is. The scandal would explode in the morning. The company would crumble to dust. Executives, investors, Dalton, all exposed, all accountable. Nr. For the first time in 5 years, she was finally free. Later that night, as she lay in bed with Liam's hand intertwined with hers, she realized something. She had spent years building someone else's empire. But tomorrow, she would start building her own. She closed her eyes, letting the quiet finally settle in her chest. The nightmare was over, and a new beginning waited just beyond sunrise.